Who wants to go to the camera?
We are live. Yeah. Just about.
I have zip ties in my pocket, so it's possible. I mean, we garbage bags for the best of our ability stuff.
Yeah, no, and that's totally cool. But we appreciate it.
With a sturdy umbrella.
It seems like it. I feel like it's
Nope, that's way over in front of the lens. I can't really zip tie it then. Because then it's going to be too low.
There we go. Welcome to the 2018 Canadian Lawnbowling Championship Finals.
It's pretty air.
Joined by
It's pretty tight in there.
How you doing, Al?
I have it zip tied around the
Glad to
lens
have you.
too. So
We've got some men's pairs gold medal action going on right now between Saskatchewan A of Doug Propp and Ernie Mead and Alberta A of Pat Bird and John McDonald.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
because I can't zip tie it to here, otherwise I'm in front of the lens.
Betty Children and Matt Robin.
Yeah,
Here again, so in the tiebreak, I believe that Ernie Doug got the better
Consider it,
match.
yeah.
John with a fair margin.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's
Yeah, because there's only one for the lens and it has a zip tie around it.
yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I pulled it as tight as I possibly could, so we shouldn't be doing too much moving. So.
On the green there, I believe that Ernie Mead's got the green bowls and John McDonald with the orange ones. There's some new bowls from Pepper coming in. I think I've seen him play with purple ones.
Yeah, he seems to have a new stack each year. Takers around.
Should be good for one. Maybe even two Alberta in that. Could be.
It's definitely a little straight on the stage, so
Talking to Steve McCarahan at the start of the day here, and he said he thinks Ernie Mead was probably the best lead for men's pairs going into the finals here. He said Ernie was just the most consistent player all week. Just unreal.
yeah, he's battled through a lot of adversity this past year, so this is a pretty good one. Always steady.
Just around with that. Calling for a little bit of a check number.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to go for the big points in a three-goal.
What do you think of three goal pairs?
You know, I don't mind it. It's, I feel like it's a lot more competitive. Probably a lot more draw against the rest of the respective teams.
Thomas calling for protection and passes across the jack pole. Nah, I want to score points.
That's not a big deal here.
One goal left each. Skippers.
John McDonald.
Third or fourth, something like that. Yeah, around there. Yeah, he picked it up real quick. I had it 2 years ago in Edmonton. Maybe he was a big competitor and a lot. And Jennifer, she's umpiring here today. She was here in the past 3 days.
Yeah, he's kind of a quite
Probably following the same track as
pretty heavy.
Not sure if he was looking to find a friend back there, crashing to stay, or what he did. I noticed earlier this morning, though, but both Pat and John are lefties.
Yeah, we got 3 out of 4 lefties.
Ernie being the other one.
This is a good shot here for Doug.
Maybe even 2 for a bit of a head. Lots of back goals, all green though, so if we can make any contact on it, that's a shot goal. Jack pops back. That's would be laughing.
Well, if he hits that shot, out of the kick.
Unless this morning in the tiebreak had a very high scoring affair too. After like 6 after. Or after like 14 2 or something like that. So. One of the perks of the Fever Bears. Score a lot of goals with it.
See that women's pairs match? Terrace has got the next one.
Oh, I didn't. Oh. Right hit. That was one.
That's in there. That's in the try.
Might be a bit of a groove there.
This rain's definitely made it interesting.
Yeah, no kidding. Prior to today, I thought that the greens were getting faster and faster each day because there hadn't been any rain earlier today. Slowing them right down. I don't know if many of them played on the sea 2 days ago when the greens got flooded overnight. That would have slowed things down nicely.
Yeah. He's at 8 in the morning. Probably a big national game. Looks like they pulled it through though. Ernest the cat, looking to add a couple feet, getting the head here.
Apologies for a little bit of background noise there. Didn't realize I still had one of the camera mics on, so you can probably hear all the rain drizzle up there where Brandon and Mason are sitting.
Our valiant cameraman getting soaked.
Getting soaked up there.
Way to go, boys.
Didn't realize John McDonald's name on Twitter is Johnny Whoop. Jen McDonald just sent out a tweet saying, tune in if you want to watch Johnny Whoop and Pat Beable in the gold medal match. Johnny Whoop.
I'd like to hear Johnny Whoop if he gets that podium win. That'd be a big statement. This has a chance. Seems to be dragging out there a bit still, though.
Yeah, just all downhill at the end there.
Ernie has not quite found his groove yet.
No, not quite. Lots of holes there still.
Yep.
Just a draw game.
How do you prefer? Do you like 3-bowl or 4-bowl?
Oh, 3-bowl all day.
Yeah?
I hate 4-bowl pairs, and I hate 3-bowl triples too. I find it's way too much clutter that the skip can just drive at, and then it makes the lead almost irrelevant.
Yeah, 3-bowl triples is a tough game to justify.
Fewer the bowls, the more competitive you got to be.
Yeah.
I feel like there's less luck involved too with fewer bowls. Not as many wicks and Garbage junk shots.
Yeah, especially out here. Pat replaced the bowl there. Doug's going to have to get something close.
Still got probably, what, maybe a meter closest bowl. Tons of space.
Yep.
We saw Ernie's bowl trickle off, though, so how close can you get to the ditch before it starts to cave downhill? Do you have 2 feet, or?
Yeah, you know what? Right where Ernie's back bowl is there, that's kind of when
Kind
it
of the limit?
starts. Yep.
Okay.
Which is too bad because, I mean, any sort of trail kind of takes away a natural draw.
Mm-hmm. Makes it tough with the respot here, too.
Yep. How do you feel about the respot?
Not a fan, but to be honest, didn't have any impact whatsoever on any of the games we streamed except one.
Yep.
So didn't even come into play at all. But
I can't say I'm a fan. I know it was to kind of decrease the delays. But I
Yep.
feel like at this sort of competitive level, you're playing pretty quick anyway. You already know what you're playing most of the time.
I'm a big fan of being able to kill the end, but c'est la vie.
Yeah, in 2013, we played against Kevin Jones and played 28 ends. Him and Johnny ended up killing 10.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was one of the best games I've ever played.
And still probably finished in the time limit, too.
Yeah, we did finish ahead of a couple of women's fours rinks. It was very impressive.
How do you feel about the third not being able to stand down with the skip in a force game now?
I like it. I think Skip can handle the business by himself. I think the only reason as a vice that I would hang out with Skip is just, you know, not so lonely out there. A little bit of positive encouragement.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, out in Australia, you'll never see a vice hanging out in the Skip. I don't even think it's tolerated, actually.
Yeah, when I was talking to Terry Scott from New Zealand, he said that it's not very often. There's still the odd person here or there that would do it, but most don't.
Oh, great bowl by Doug here.
Beauty that should be shot, I think.
Should be the one.
Last bowl coming up clutch. Yep.
That's a huge shot. I think Alberta had about 3 there.
Yeah, I think so. In case you couldn't hear us at the start, I'm streaming with Alex Scott here today, the local Saskatchewan. So feel free to shout out to us on Facebook or Twitter at BCB Bulls.
Well, so far, they seem to be playing that full-length jack.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of an interesting mentality when you're bowling in the rain.
Yeah, because it's already going to be slow enough as is to play full length. It's even more of a haul.
Mm-hmm.
Got the mat up about, what, 3 paces?
Yeah, give or take.
Pretty good opening bowl there from Ernie. Do you like long ends or short ends?
I prefer short to medium. Just kind of natural delivery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ernie Mead, affectionately known as Ernest the Cat, because he draws the cat clean many times.
Intentional strategy here, maybe, to go long. Having played each other twice already, this is game number 3 between these two. Maybe they realized something worked in the tiebreak.
Yeah, it's the little subtleties that you take away for a lot of these matches. Got to pay attention to those details. Well, that worked out favorably.
Still Ernie lying 1 right now. Can't quite see him now that Doug's standing right in front of it, but that green ball up front is just a shade closer. There you go, now that Doug's moved. Forced Ernie on the other hand here, though, I think.
He looks to have pinched it.
Mm-hmm. Is there much of a speed difference between B green and C green, generally?
Generally, I would say no.
Okay.
I think C's always been maybe a tad quicker.
Okay.
But these greens are running very smooth now. About a month ago, they were only about 9 or 10 seconds. So they've done a lot this past month.
Mm-hmm. Got them up to probably 11, 11 and a half, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah. He ended up crashing again.
Well, almost got a bit of a back roll out of it, but still pretty wide open for both skips here. You can play either hand almost. Pat could play underneath to rest Ernie out.
I think Doug likely wants to
Give Ernie a kiss or draw around it, you think?
draw around it. Even if he uses it for a bit of a trail, that could work too.
Mm-hmm. Most of the matches we've been streaming so far have been fours, whether it was men's fours or women's fours, and every game it seemed everybody was coming up short, and there was just 7 short bowls by the time the skip was ready to play. It's kind of nice here to watch pairs because with only 3 bowls, it's not as much clutter in front. Each skip has a very easy chance to draw here. Doug was playing with a fair bit of weight there. I wonder if you're looking to pick John's bowl.
I'm not really sure what he was attempting there. I think he actually may have just come out of his hand too hot. Here comes Pat.
Pat Bird just a little bit past. That should be good for another counter. Interestingly placed bowl, though, because now Doug's going to have to draw that off. It's not very easy to pick that.
He's playing it a little wide.
Much better weight than his first, though.
Yep. Pat Bird, former national team player.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, it doesn't quite feel like a championship if I don't get to stream Pat Bird at least once.
Exactly.
He's always here.
I do wonder if he's put his name in the hat again for the national squad, because he's definitely got the talent to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no idea. I want to say the deadline for that was July 31st, so I'm sure our high performance committee's probably sifting through all the names.
How do you feel about the increased opportunity, adding it to 9 players?
To be honest, I'm not a fan. I really don't like that move at all. Given that for almost all of our international events we only send 5 people, I feel like 9 is just overkill. But on the other side, there's a lot of other events, such as NAC, where we send a full squad of 10, that in the past we didn't really have enough people to even field a team. And then it just looks awkward when you're asking anybody who can go to put your name in a hat to see if you want to go. So I understand the reasoning for it, but not a huge fan. I think I'd rather keep it around 6 or 7, just because you only really need 5 and maybe a sub or 2. Oh, Pat Bird.
Great bowl.
The Bird man.
The Bird man trails it for 2.
Both skips coming up clutch on their last bowl. Last end Doug was huge, and here Pat's just striking them nicely. How do you feel about the increase number of?
I think I like it just because I want many people to have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it could be complicated if you get 8 guys who are all doing a great job, and then you have to choose from that pool.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be an interesting couple of years. There's a lot of emerging talent coming out of the under 25 and junior scene, and a lot of the mainstay veterans hanging out too. So
I was quite happy with how our young crew did over in Wales not too long ago. There were a few of our senior squad members there, but also a lot of development squad members there, and I think they went 2-2 or 3-2. Most of them lost out to make playoffs on differential most times, but quality of teams over in Wales was really good. Playing, Australia, Scotland, what have you.
Absolutely. There's a good balance of young and veteran talent there too.
NAC's coming up in October down in good old sunny Laguna.
Laguna Beach.
I'm told they just spent $500,000 to redo their greens and redid the whole artificial carpet. So now it should be, I want to say, laser leveled and running about 15, 16 seconds. So that's going to be an absolute delight to play on.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that's another interesting squad coming up. There's a few people who they reached outside of the national squad pool, so they did some interesting scouting.
Yeah, it was interesting because the eligibility for it was you had to have competed in a national championship last year, and I think there's something about not having been selected for Team Canada because it's a development tournament. So I had to sift through every single person who entered a national championship last year, which was incredibly tedious to go through to find people and identify if they've been selected for Canada, if they're...
That's a lot of archives to sift through.
I'll be quite happy to not have to do that again, hopefully, if we're going to have a 9-person squad going forward.
Laguna Beach. That's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah, I've never been. Have you?
No.
No.
California love. Well, last time I bowled stateside would have been Sun City, Arizona, way back in 2011.
It would have been a camp of some sort, no?
Yeah, it was national training camp. The legend Lachlan Ty was the field general. I learned a lot. Learned a lot on that trip.
Yeah.
A lot of new principles I've never considered before. So
a lot of new drills I'd never really heard of before. But yeah, he was very informative.
Yep. You have to be adaptable in this sport. I feel like I learn something new every single year, and it's been bowling for 21 years now. Just never stops.
I learned a lot from having Terry Scott here the past 3 days. He's our senior coach now, down from New Zealand, Dunedin. Learned a lot of different types of drills and tricks, I guess, while he was on the broadcast.
Yeah, I have not met Terry Scott. I hear a lot of rave reviews. Well, I think the national squad's heading in the right direction.
Yeah. No, I could not agree more. Commonwealth Games was, I think, proof of that. Never before have we finished top 4 in 6 out of 8 disciplines.
That's right.
So that's huge hat off to all the players there who played well down at Broad Beach.
Yeah, that's the mecca of bowls down there.
What I would give to go back there. It's truly is paradise down there.
Pat's looking to add another in the head. Ernie still hasn't quite found his rhythm yet.
Yeah, it looks like he's struggling a bit. I wonder if it's because of the rain. When they played the tiebreaks this morning over on Sea Green, probably wasn't quite the same speed, pace, what have you, as it is right now with all the rain slowing it down.
You also have to wonder if, before a big match, if some players always get a bit of butterflies in the stomach. Comes natural with the excitement of being in the final clash.
Do you find you get any more nervous being on the TV rink? Last year we broadcast you in the triples gold medal match. Was being on TV any sort of extra factor in that at all?
No, I don't think so. I think we did well at eliminating any distractions off of the green anyway. And I don't know, once you kind of win once, it's just sort of the routine after that. It's definitely something to think about, though.
I can't speak for Doug, but I know Pat's been here many times before. Ernie's been here many times before. This is probably the first time John's been in a final, a gold medal match anyway. Has Doug been in this position before?
You know, I feel like they got a silver back in the day in the 4s, but it might have just been a bronze. I think this might be his biggest stage for him.
Okay.
He did lose the national final at the indoor championships to Mason quite a few years back.
Okay, all right.
So he's definitely has some experience. He'll be looking to place another big bowl here, though.
Not quite sure what Pat was going for there, if he was trying to rest that back green one or what he was going for. I think Doug's looking to draw around. We got Derek Dillon's favorite weather right now as he's got the umbrella and rain's a drizzling.
Yeah, it looks a little bit of a grumpy bear today, but I think he'll be all right.
I know he's very pleased to be out in Alberta now with how long their winters are coming from Australia. Move to Canada, they say. It'll be fun, they say. Meanwhile, it's still winter in May.
Ugh, that's a depressing thing to say. I think Doug's looking at maybe playing a little tight onto the bowl, push follow. There must be some very fine lines. Can't draw around those bowls, I guess.
Yeah, Ernie's foot right in front of the orange one. Yeah, he's probably looking to play with some weight onto the orange and follow through, and if he gets the green, so be it. Yeah, I think you're right on that. Yeah, just inside. Yeah, you could probably count 2 if you play that nicely.
Yeah, we'll see what he does. Mr. Prop is pretty steady with controlled weight shots.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
His bread and butter?
It's one of his weapons, for sure.
Ooh, great question from Andy Caldwell down in Ontario. I was going to say Peterborough, but not anymore. But seen a lot on Facebook lately from Natana Lawn Bowling Club. Can you ask Alex about the videos promoting the club and what it's done in the past few years? Has the membership grown or declined, and how's the average age of bowlers changed?
Thank you for that question. That's really good. Our recreational league has totally changed the dynamic at our club. For 8 weeks straight, we had about 90 people coming out. And a lot of, 25 to 40-year-olds. So it's really cool. It's definitely shifted the stigma of bowling in Saskatoon. And I would say we've probably added about 15 to 20 members in the last 2 years.
Oh, and that's not just new people, but like actual growth. So like plus.
Actual growth, yeah. We've been thriving. We have a great set of volunteers down in Newtana, and we're doing a lot for the club. So if anyone ever wants to take some notes, give me a holler. I'll be happy to assist.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually had Fran send me a whole lot of documentation on how that league started and what they're doing with it. And started, what, about 5 years ago, I think she said.
Yep.
And here we are. I think she said that sold out almost overnight, 24 hours. It was, give or take, pretty close to that, I think she said.
Well, unfortunately, due to limited green space, we actually had to turn down about 25 extra players.
That's unbelievable.
So that's a big deal.
If you had to say a couple takeaways, key points on that, is it just having the bar, having music playing?
Yeah, it's just more of a relaxed vibe. Everyone's having fun, listening to music, rolling bowls, and enjoying a couple drinks in the process. And
almost no promotion either. It's all word of mouth, I'm told, or at least a lot of it anyway.
Yeah, a lot of it's through Facebook, but most of it's word of mouth. We're trying to increase our social media presence as much as we can, too.
I think that's a big one. A lot of clubs aren't even on social media. So step 1, create a Facebook account or Facebook page, I guess. And then step 2, promote.
Yeah, that's the thing. We need more Canadians to kind of adapt to modern day thinking.
Yep. It baffles my mind how clubs don't have a website yet. There's so many clubs in Canada that aren't online at all. I'm thinking the first thing I do if I want to join a new sport, join a new club, join anything, is I go home and Google it. And if you're not online, then not going to help get new people.
Yeah, you have to care about the overall aspect of the sport. Got to help it grow. There's too many people who just want to roll bowls, and that's fine, and I don't blame them for that. But
Ernest
the cat, taking it almost to the ditch.
So clearly not as much of a slope down the other end there as the jack stopped. Oh, good foot.
Yeah, playing away from a clubhouse, it's pretty honest out there. Oh, Ernie has definitely made this end interesting.
Mm-hmm. And where his bowl is in the ditch, you can still draw that off. Right where Pat's standing would probably be good enough for shot.
Yeah, about a meter in front. This looks like a good bowl if it stays in.
Just.
Ooh, 2 feet. Ernie will be looking to follow him down on that path. He clips it into the ditch. He's laughing.
I was just going to say it'd be very tempting to try to put it in the ditch first before someone else has the opportunity to, and I think that's what he was going for.
Ernie is close.
Just.
Good efforts, gentlemen.
Not a whole lot of danger for either team here, as Ernie's lying 1 in the ditch. You're likely not going to score a big end either way, so if I'm Pat, I'm probably tempted to just go for it.
Yeah, knowing Pat, he likely will have a crack at it.
But it wouldn't be a big drive. It would be just a couple yards through. Don't think Pat's known for throwing massive weight. Just on the outside track there.
A little too hot.
So you said you got about 15, 20, 25 new members out of the rec league. Has that brought your average age down quite a bit then?
Yeah, I think it has. Definitely a lot of new faces, probably 35, 40 years old, looking to try a new sport for the first time. Yeah, shout out to Newtown Lawn Bowling Club. They're doing a lot of good things down there.
When I was streaming with Charlie Taylor yesterday, he was saying that using a lot of the money and grant money would have you to update the facilities, and then you have a kitchen that's newer than his.
Yeah, we've got some good funding this year. Doug's about 6 feet away.
It's good for 2, though. I think I'd be tempted to try to draw that off now and cut it to 1.
Pat's looking at some jack. Great bowl.
What a shot.
Wow.
What a bowl, and it's still moving.
It's still moving.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no.
It fell, folks. That's craziness. Sometimes you just have to laugh, Pat. Just have to laugh.
I bet as soon as this gets uploaded on YouTube, Pat's going to come back and fast forward right to this end and say, what happened here? And Doug's close again here.
That's pretty close.
Getting a third shot, yeah. So
that's a great bowl.
3 green in the count right now. Big bull here for Pat Beard. He really did have the perfect bull last time. I mean, you can't change much from that.
Honestly, not much. He's got another bull to use with that same sort of weight.
And you can see from this camera angle, there's absolutely nothing out front, so it's just wide open draws for days.
He's close again. I think he's got it this time.
Yeah, that'll cut him down to 1, if not shot itself.
Ah, there's a good call. Doug's asking bull or jack, and Ernie said sure.
Picks the bull. It could be 3 or 4 if he stays.
Yeah, I think bull's a much better option than the jack. Much bigger target, too.
Right next door, we have the Battle of Alberta in the women's pairs.
Mm-hmm. A versus B. I don't know who's on which side, but someone's up 3-1 after 4, so not a high-scoring affair there.
Claire Day just crunched the jack back. Oh, Doug's throwing some heat.
Does he got the bull?
He is close.
Got the...
Wow.
Thought he was grabbing the jack on that. Wowza. So Johnny's already kicked out 1 green. Just the one?
I think just the one. I think that one in the ditch was just a little too far left.
I'd love to see some mat movement here. I've noticed all week, like, only 2 people have ever actually brought the mat up all the way to the hog. Ernie's got it up a fair pace.
I wonder if he's playing to his own comfort zone or trying to get the other opponent uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting strategy early. I usually always keep the mat back for the first 5 or 6 ends.
Yeah?
Yeah. But to each their own.
I'm a big fan of always bringing the mat up at least a little bit. I never have it on the tee. It's always up at least 4 or 5 paces to start, and then from there I'll bring it up all the way to the hog if things aren't going well.
How do you feel about the singles being an independent event again in this new format?
In this new format, I'm a big fan of where it's at now, just because we actually have 24 men, 24 women, and for the past, I want to say, like 5 years, we only ever had like 13 women entered. So I'm a huge fan of having it a little bit more meaningful, and it looks like the competition is a lot more fierce now with much more representation from across Canada. So I'm a big fan of that. I really do like having it side by side with the pairs and fours, just because if you're competing in both, now you can just stick around and keep on playing.
Someone made an interesting suggestion yesterday of having the singles open where all the players in the men's pairs, women's pairs, fours, what have you, could just stick around for an open singles format. Then you'd have a ton of people playing.
Almost sort of like U.S. Open, Australian Open, what have you, where you've got a lot of people coming in.
It was an interesting concept. I know they tried the open format, but due to a lot of time and restricted funding, we just weren't getting enough people out for it.
Mm-hmm. And the ones we were getting were very, very localized.
Mm-hmm. Ernie, good bowl there.
Yeah, good result.
Alberta holding 1. John will be looking for a little delicate trail here, would be nice.
And he's close. Right through the port.
That was the right idea.
Setting it up nicely for Pat here now. Pat's got lots of options.
Yeah, position is everything at this level.
Terry was talking about one of the drills he was running before was about the efficiency zone, which is a triangle behind the jack that measures about 1 meter. And it looks like John's bowls have made that perfect triangle pretty much from this camera angle of being in very efficient places for where the jack's going to potentially end up moving or where your bowls will still be useful.
Yeah, I would be pleased with all 3 of those results. I was watching the Australian Open men's fours, Alex Marshall and company, and it was interesting. Alex, all he did the whole time was just kind of motion his hands into the head.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have any directions. He just kept on making that same movement, and they just kept on getting in that efficiency zone. And really, that's all you have to do. I think people overcomplicate things a lot.
Yeah.
If you're just within that little mat length range,
Mm-hmm.
something good's going to happen. So it's cool to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best in the world just creating these groupings so naturally.
Got a clarification from Dave Anderson. Sorry, I haven't checked our Twitter messages in a little bit, but NEC's in Laguna Hills, not Laguna Beach.
Okay.
Laguna Hills. I didn't realize there was a difference between the two. I guess I thought they were one and the same, but shows what I know, having never been there before.
Yeah, I just know the name because of the old reality TV show. Mind-blowingly good, by the way.
Put that on after this game's done. Sure it's on Netflix or Crave TV or whatever.
Probably shouldn't admit it over the airwaves, but I have been delving into Bachelor in Paradise this past couple of weeks.
Any fans of that out there, I'm sure you can tweet in, give a few quick rubs.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
Birdman with just a little kiss. Loving that our communications guys all on Twitter with pictures with score updates and a photo. So Alberta B leads Alberta A in the women's pair 6-1 after 5. Women's fours 2-1 Ontario over BC after 3, and men's fours Ontario's up over Sask 7-3. Thank you, Maddie.
Yeah, nothing is out of reach at this point. Lots of game to play. Goes by fast, though.
Mm-hmm.
If you lose 3 ends of momentum and suddenly you're down 8 points, it makes it tough to get into it.
How do you feel about 18 ends? Too long, too short?
I think it's just right. I don't know. I mean, 3 games a day, 18 ends and a fours, that's fairly exhausting. But that's what being an athlete is about.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through that endurance anyway.
Talked about this yesterday with Charlie, too. Time and time again, we've had a lot of provinces, a lot of players say we should be sending our fours winners onto World Bowls or what have you. And this right here is a big reason why we don't do that, is because the games are incredibly long days. You're playing 3 games a day, 18 ends for 2 weeks straight, more or less, in blistering hot sun. So I've had a lot of players here complaining about how long the days are, but this is what you're going to face on the international scene. So,
and potentially a lot longer because of the 17-second pace.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a normal thing. 3 games a day down under. Got to get used to it here. That being said, we are a unique sport where we have 70-year-olds,
yeah,
12-year-olds, 35-year-olds.
That's fair. This is very unique. What do you think of Mike Patuli's beard over there? I'm a huge fan.
I think it's the most epic thing at this tournament, quite frankly. Kind of looks like he just came out of the boreal forest for a little bit of a jitney.
I do hope that they're still playing after the pairs games are done so we can get over and put him on cam again.
Absolutely. No, Mike's been working hard to get that push up to the next level. So this would be a big statement win for him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great bowl by Pat. Jack high draw. Not sure if he got the second shot in there or not.
Roger Smith's giving me a pretty funny Ernie story. So 5 years ago, I guess they went off somewhere that Roger owns property in 2 businesses, and so Ernie said, "Can I come along?" So Roger said, "Sure." So they're in the country, and they started the Coconut League, where they searched the riverbed and found a rock that was about the perfect size of a jack. So it was Ernie and his army against Roger's regiment, and they grabbed 8 coconuts, and so they're rolling them slightly uphill to this little rock, and so Roger rolls a good one, and it rolls back down the slope about 5 feet. Ernie draws a coconut, but short. Roger taps the coconut with his next coconut, and Ernie throws a heavy one, makes contact, when it splits the coconut in half, and then a bunch of little kids come out and grab the coconuts. I'm not sure what country you went to, Roger, but that sounds like a hilarious story.
I feel like it might have been the Philippines.
Could be. Could be.
They've done some good traveling over the years. Ernie's quite the adventurer on his off time, actually.
Yeah, this year he was traveling all over.
Yeah. He's got that retired life.
Yep.
Can't wait to be there in 35 years.
But who's counting?
Bit of a slow finish on our lead's forehands here. Don't seem to be curling too much.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ernie's slightly better, but still quite short. Yeah, Rogers clarified it was the Philippines. They were playing the Coconut League. Better bowl there from Johnny.
That's a great adjustment.
Nice to see him not crash on that short ball and be able to just draw around it. Excellent drill from Terry Scott when trying to convince people just because there's a short ball, you don't need to change hands. Terry will go out and say, if you hit that short ball, I'll give you $5, but every time you miss it, you owe me 1.
Mm.
And so they'll play for a while, and he said 99% of the time he comes out on top. So just because there's a short ball there doesn't mean you need to change hands at all.
Yeah, it's all mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree with that mentality.
Naturally, as soon as I say that, though, John's crashing on a short ball, but...
Yeah, in most circumstances, if there's a better hand and there's 3 bowls in front on that hand, I'd probably still have my lead play it.
Mm-hmm.
I find a lot of people battle with wonky hands on an open jack, and they just dig themselves a hole way quicker than they should.
Mm-hmm. A big proponent of lead should probably only play the one hand unless there's something seriously wrong with it. Find the better hand and try a lens and just play that one hand all game.
I remember back in the day, Steve McCarahan in his fours rink, they would always play almost out of bounds on their trial ends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I never fully understood why.
Until?
They had their reasoning. I think it was just to kind of get a feel for what it does in unusual circumstance. And once you kind of know what the green's going to do after 2 bowls of trials, that's all you really need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly it. I remember playing against Steve and Dave one time, and as you said, with their trial bowls, they'll go right to the outside rink or right to the ditch on the outside rink, and it just looks funny in trial bowls, but sure enough, 3 ends into the game, Jack gets popped to the side, but out of bounds marker, and Dave shouts down, use your trial bowl, because that's exactly where it is.
That's right. That's where experience comes in. I think so many people just want to draw the cat clean all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you're competitive, you already know what your weight's going to feel like. You're going to learn the lines very quick.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to try some other things.
Pretty good bowl there from Doug, holy smokes.
Got through a lot of bowls there. That might be the shot bowl.
Yeah. Looks like it might be close to falling over once he gets the flop.
Saskatchewan will be looking to change a bit of the momentum here. They don't want to get down too much against the Birdman.
Pat's coming up well short.
And Doug will be looking to play a similar bowl, ideally inside, but if he can get outside and reach his own, then he'll definitely have the shot.
This clearly must be the better hand, because to me it looks like the other hand just has a very easy draw. But neither skip is playing it, so this must be the better hand to play. Pat's going to run down and take a look.
Yeah, I can't quite tell who's holding the shot from this angle.
And I think Pat's now looking at playing the other hand there.
Yeah, I think his previous short bowl sort of
Sewered him.
crushed his line there. 'Cause his bowls run a lot straighter than Doug's.
Mm-hmm.
Doug uses the, I think, the Henselite Classics.
Starting to see a lot more arrow bowls coming up past year or two. Making a big name for themselves over here.
Have you used them before?
My roommate when I was in Australia was from Ireland, and he had a couple sets of arrow bowls that we were playing with in the hotel. And I tried both of his sets. They were, I can't remember what models they were, but I didn't like them just because they're a little bit narrower in the hand. So I don't know if it's just because my hands are big or if I just didn't know how to hold them right. But every time I would try to deliver, they'd come out wobbly, just because they're a little bit narrower in the hand, and I wasn't used to that. So personal preferences, I'm not a fan of them strictly for that reason.
Yeah, I don't use the grips when I lawn bowl, so I don't think it would make much of a difference for me. It's definitely got a weird finish. It's almost like a hockey stick curve at the end.
Mm-hmm. Pat's well around. Look for a little bit of protection there with all the...
Well, Doug has an interesting scenario here because...
Yeah, I guess he could have had a nice little trail there, so smart move by Pat.
Doug doesn't want to risk knocking in the orange if he is, in fact, holding shot.
Still has a chance for a trail there. Plays a little bit of weight on the jack. Any jack movements likely going to be favorable for him and Ernie. What are you playing in this situation if you dug?
I guess it depends on the hand, because it does seem like they're reluctant to play the forehand. But if there's a way to snake around that front bowl and even have jack level weight, probably get two out of it.
I'd be tempted to play weight on the forehand and either pound Ernie up or even slip inside it down under to try to get onto John's orange.
That could work too. You definitely have options, even if you get a bit of jack movement on the push follow.
Mm-hmm.
Drag it back a meter for 3 or 4.
I can't see him playing the backhand on this at all, though. That's all Alberta
Nope.
coming in. Yeah, the way it's in his hand, that's a forehand shot for sure.
Yep. He's got options. I just wonder if he's up or down in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of changes the thinking. He's definitely throwing a bit of weight, so
He might be doing what I suggested.
he's close.
Grab the jack.
Right to Pat's
Right to
position.
Pat.
Bowl.
Wow.
Wow.
What are the odds of that? Well-placed Pat. Unlucky there, Dougie.
Great bowl, Doug. Unlucky result, but Pat had a feeling that was the shot.
You know, there's a potential that he was down one in the head anyway, so that might not have really changed anything anyway.
Doug had a good chuckle on that one. Just having fun. Gotta have fun in these games.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to get here every year. I think our men's fours need to start having some fun over there. They're down about 11-3 right now.
Yep.
But they're a team of momentum, so they get a couple shots and
Away they go.
away they go.
Looks like they're sitting pretty over there from this angle, too. Pretty good opening ball here from Johnny.
Very composed on the mat.
You know, based off of that last bowl there from Doug, unfortunate result. I've played with a lot of people who, as soon as what you could call a lucky shot goes the other way, they get all ticked off and then are just sort of out of it for the game. So I always like to sort of tell my teammates, the luck balances out and you can expect your opponent to get 3 or 4 good bounces each game, so just expect it. And, you know, that's sort of one of the unlucky bounces that you're going to get. But when we were playing back the other way and the jack was near the ditch and Pat's bowl just stopped and then picked up again and rolled into the ditch, I think it's kind of safe to say that the bounces have been unfortunate or fortunate, however you want to phrase it, going both ways.
That's bowls. I mean, it's a game truly of inches, so you're going to get your breaks, you're not going to get your breaks. And you have to be lucky to get victories anyway.
Good to be lucky and lucky to be good.
Great response by Ernie.
Ernie.
As far as John goes, this moment definitely does not seem too big for him. This is
Oh, what a bowl.
great bowl.
Well, I know that I was talking with his wife last night at dinner, and she was saying last year they were in a tiebreak opportunity to get to a medal match, and they're very similar to this year, where if you're tied for first with 3 teams and you're ranked in the top 2, 1 and 2 play off, loser plays against the third team that had a bye, so you sort of get 2 cracks to get into the gold medal match. And last year he was in that situation and lost both tiebreak matches and ended up playing for bronze. So this year he was adamant he didn't want to go that road again and ended up losing the first tiebreak match. I can only imagine what was going through his head, thinking, oh no, not again. But they pulled through against Nova Scotia in the second tiebreak.
The tiebreak format is interesting.
What are your thoughts on that?
I like playing it out on the green, but at the same time, I don't know if it's entirely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get your first shot at each opponent in round robin, and I'm okay with leaving it at that. But it adds a little bit of drama having some tiebreak, and that might be more appealing to the viewer too. So there's ups and downs of each, I think.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of not having tiebreakers on the greens. I think that since it is a round robin, you play everybody once already, and win or lose on paper, you know, throughout the round robin, it's sort of your fault. You should have just won out and then not left it to paper. So if you're going to lose on paper, well, you had 9 games to prove that you were the better team. So
that's right.
Not to mention it's what's done internationally. So if we were to mimic what's done there, then it's all on paper. You don't get a second chance to try to weasel your way into a medal game.
Yeah, I would agree. It was an interesting ruling, and I'm wondering how long it'll stick, because I know people have a lot of opinions on the new formatting, and some people still miss the triples event.
Yep. It's interesting, a lot of countries don't have a triples event, though. We were one of the few that did. And I enjoy playing triples, especially if it was going to be 2-bowl triples. I would have loved that, but
2-bowl triples would be a good game.
Love that game.
We played 3-bowl triples at the Canadians last year, and it was fun. Our guys bowled great, but
bit of a slog fest.
Bit of a redundant game sometimes.
Pat's throwing a little bit of weight here.
A little bit of unintentional weight.
Was looking to just get some position and grab the jack on his way through.
It worked out quite favorably.
So he's holding 2. I don't know what he was holding before. I think that actually probably decreased the count. Probably wishes he would have missed that, but
I think Doug will be looking to play a yard through, get the jack back or rest the bull clean.
definitely would not expect him to be short on this.
It seems like from here it's a clear shot.
Beautiful thing about 2 bull pairs. Or 3 bull pairs. There's not too much cluster.
That's good weight for it, Doug.
Looks like all the players here have really sort of figured out their weight. There's not too many that are short or sprayed.
Well, I think because the pace has been quite favorable this week, it's easy to reach. We found it very difficult last month. Tons of short bowls. It's not that natural feel.
That's a tricky thing when you've got a slow green, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it is, to get him there. It's a heave.
Yep. Well, it's good that the city of Regina came through.
Not going to lie, I was worried there for a long time in the office thinking, what are we going to do if we get there and the grass is 3 inches long? Having never been here before, I had no idea what to expect, so very, very pleased.
Yeah, I think the organizing committee were a little tense, but managed to work out in the end, as always. And that's because of all the volunteerism. A lot of working parts to this stuff.
Yeah, big thanks as always to all the volunteers here. They've been doing a tremendous job, put in a lot of hard work and paying off.
Jonathan Patulli is definitely getting into it.
11-5 Ontario over Saskatchewan after 7 ends on that 4s match.
Yeah, Jonathan is definitely one of the more brilliant characters on tour.
Likes to have a good time, which I'm a big fan of seeing people who are just out there having fun.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He plays hard, he plays competitive, but he's also pretty laid back.
He's been a huge help being on the competition committee too, to be just sort of a sound of reason, I guess, really. As a competitive player, he knows the rules very well, knows what should or shouldn't be going on, and very thoughtful with his responses every time I ask his opinion. So really good quality guy to have on the committee, which, speaking of, all of our committees and our board are looking to recruit, so get in touch with us if you're looking to volunteer with Bulls Canada.
Yeah, it's worth it. If you got something to say, you want to make something new happen, then you got to join these kinds of committees.
Pafaraj asking Alex, if the top bowlers of Saskatoon play the top bowlers of Regina, who wins?
You come to Saskatoon and you'll get your answer. Always a friendly rivalry against Regina, but we would take them out. Thanks for the question, though.
And you can come to Saskatoon, I believe, next year, mixed pairs? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is correct.
2019.
At our home club. We're very excited to hold that event.
Hands down the most popular event. Everybody loves mixed pairs.
Yeah, I played it back in 2007 out in New Brunswick.
New Brunswick.
With my sister, and it was a great experience. Didn't get the results we wanted, but
Fredericton Club, or?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool. It's not often you get to have gendered events, so I just wish I think a lot of people wish they had more time to do it.
Yep. Yep.
So I think the Canadians take priority now that it's been knocked down to a different tier. Might not be as competitive going forward. Oh, Doug's coming up short here. Thank you for the coffee, Kendra. Kendra Naher, one of our gracious volunteers.
Stellar.
Girlfriend to Jonathan Patulli.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Someone managed to put up with him. Good for her.
They had a January wedding, too. I like her a lot already, having never really met her before. Huge fan. Anyone who brings me coffee is a decent person.
Yes. Oh, that is especially tasty on this rainy, dreary day.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? We're having fun. Hanging out with Jake Shuknek from Bowls Canada. Doing a stand-up job, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's been quite the time, to be honest. I've been with Bowls Canada since May 2016, and I've learned so much about what goes on behind the scenes. It's way more than I anticipated.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to make these events happen, and
Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool, though, that working with Anna, bowls is actually almost one of the leading sports now with certain groups that we have to work with. One of them is Sport for Life. They work with every sport to really make sure that you have athletes for life, more or less. Long-term athlete development is a big part of what they do. And they use the stuff that we're doing at Bowls Canada as examples with other sports for best practices, which I think is really cool.
no, it's really good. Yeah, definitely something that I'm going to play for another 50 years, which is hilarious to say.
Let the countdown begin for the senior triples. You got 35 years to warm up.
Yep. Can't wait to bowl a 105-year-old Keith Roney when I reach that stage.
He'll still be killing it, I'm sure. Might be using the Ubi launcher or something, but he'll still be unreal.
Never underestimate the Roan dog.
I'm shocked he didn't give a speech at the banquet, to be honest. Normally likes to say a word or two.
Yeah, missed out on the festivities this year. Heard it was a pretty good time.
They had some fantastic food. I don't know who the caterer was, but my goodness. Unreal. Johnny McDonald.
Great bowl for John here. Wow, he is playing very steady. At the moment, he has been out bowling Ernie Mead, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the difference in this game at the moment.
Lead wins the game. Skip determines by how much.
That's right.
Particularly in 3-bowl pairs. How do you feel about 2-bowl pairs? TBA style.
Honestly, I've never played it.
Oh, no?
No.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I imagine it would be pretty hilarious.
It's interesting with strategy, though, because they use respot, too. So when you only have 2 bowls as lead, do you lock them both on, or do you put one on and then try to cover the tee? You know, like it's weird.
It is weird. Yeah.
It's weird.
I'd like to see the PBA out west
Mm-hmm.
one of these years, but just haven't been able to get anything off the ground.
I know they've been trying to get some new stuff going out in Ontario, because that's where it's mainly centered, and trying new formats, new tournaments, what have you, trying to drum up some interest. The Birdman. Getting some good position there.
I think Doug's looking to make a bit of contact on this orange. You can see Ernie's back bowl there.
It's interesting, though, because if that other hand was playing well, I'd be tempted to play green onto orange, but they've been really avoiding that hand, so
Yes, they have.
I don't think he'll be going for that. He's on his backhand.
He's playing through the head kind of weight, fairly controlled. Thought it was controlled. Ended up coming up short. I think it came out of his hand a little wonky.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing with the rain here. Bowls being wet, cans being moist. I love playing in the rain. It's my fave.
Really?
Just because I can hold the bowl so much better than everybody else. Everybody else is slipping and sliding and doesn't faze me at all. Keep on trucking.
Yeah, it takes me back to 2014 at St. James in Winnipeg. I think it rained every single day.
Mm-hmm. Greens got flooded. It was
Yeah.
not a great time, I'm told.
There was a downpour in our final, and it was a huck and chuck, but still kind of fun.
Katie Patno watching. Shout out to Jake and Alex on the commentary. Great job, guys. Nice to have you with us, Nodster.
Katie, nice to hear from you. Thank you.
All the way down in, what, Peterborough, Oshawa, somewhere in that area?
I think it was Peterborough.
Yeah?
Yeah. Katie was on the under 25 scene for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Hope to see her around one of these years.
Well, if you're at the majors next year, it's in Ontario, so still working out a few final details for which clubs will be hosting, but imagine it would be somewhere within an hour's drive of an airport.
And likely extremely hot.
Oh, yeah. Whew, you can believe that. Up in Ottawa this year, it's been about 86% humidity every single day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you walk out and it feels like you're dripping wet.
In Toronto a couple years back, it was insane to play 3 games a day in that heat.
Yeah.
Like, we were just exhausted after that 3rd game.
I don't think it's been that bad this event. Day 1 was terrible hot, but day 2 and day 3 it wasn't nearly as bad. And when it's kind of cold out, you kind of play a little bit faster because you're trying to stay warm and keep moving around, and that makes a big difference too.
Doug has a pretty big shot coming up here. Game's not getting away from them, but this would be a time to change the momentum. Get Saskatchewan back in it.
Friendly reminder from Ryan Statics it behind us, tweeting in dates for WOBA next year, July 21, 22, 23. Men's 3-day tournament down at Heritage, Kitchener, Ontario. That is one heck of a tournament now. I'm not going to lie. It's my fave. I'm guaranteed to be booking off work for the next few years to go down. That's the one tournament I play a year. And if you're able to, Doug.
Doug just needed a bit more weight to get that jack back. Unfortunate result.
That was quite the handful, too.
You know, I've never played WOBA in my 21 years of bowling.
You are missing out, my friend.
That's what I hear.
It's a lot of bowls. I think they play like 5, 8 games a day or something like that. But it's on good greens against quality opponents. It's a really, really good time. It's my favorite 3 days of every summer now. Book off work and go down and play in WOBA.
That's if you consider Ryan Stadnick a quality opponent. Just kidding, Ryan. Nothing but love. Yeah, those Ontario boys, they had a bit of a rough go this week. I thought they would have been playing today, but it just didn't work out for them.
Talking about Wayner and
yeah, Ryan and the
Jim.
boys.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess when you're playing at this high of a level, all the teams are going to have expectations to be here.
Mm-hmm.
John McDonald with a nice start.
I think it was Wayner was saying next year WOBA tournament will be the 124th year. So in 2 years' time, 125. It's the drive to 125. So looking to make it extra special. So if you're able to book off work in 2 years' time, I think that's the year you're going to have to come down for it. 125 is going to be a time.
A big blast.
Kind of crazy to think that there's been a tournament going on for 125 years.
No kidding.
That's a long time.
I wonder if that's the oldest one in Canada. 2020, I'll put it on my calendar.
Deal. But how about this John McDonald, though? Stroking him nicely.
He's been steady the whole game.
Dwayne tuning in saying, I mentioned senior triples. Bowlers are going to love the new greens at Calgary Lawn. Maybe the fastest in Canada.
Fastest in Canada.
Thanks for the broadcast. Kudos to the Prairie Bowlers for the medal haul happening at Nationals. But yeah, Calgary Lawn went through a little bit of a renovation, I guess you could say, with their new greens out there. Running around, I think, 15, 16 seconds, something like that. And they're laser leveled, I'm told. So going to be pristine.
I think Pat Bird bowls out of that club with John, doesn't he?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
15 seconds. That's dreamy.
That's, yeah, unreal.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of good things out of Calgary lately. Alberta's, they're doing some things out there.
Must be nice to have a couple of greens experts with Ken Olsvik and Lyle Adams, both from Alberta. They've got lots of expertise on how to build, maintain, redo a green.
Yeah, I miss Lyle Adams. Used to seeing him at this tournament every year.
Yeah, that's true. He was here last year. It's weird he's not here this year. Didn't quite make it out, I guess. Nodester saying you're near Lindsay now. Played out of the Lindsay Club for the last 2 years.
Okay.
All right, good to know. Good to know. Fully expect to see you as a spectator next year in 2019, if not a player. I'm actually so stoked to be able to say that we know where championships are going to be for the next, 8 years. They're all posted on the site if you look to future events. Makes planning a little easier. You can know it's Ontario this year, Saskatchewan next year, BC next year, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's quite encouraging. There's always a bit of a struggle finding a large enough venue to host this event.
Mm-hmm. All you need is 2 greens now, so no excuses for some of the smaller clubs out there. Daryl with the chirps because Pat can't read them, saying, who's this Pat Bird guy? He's doing pretty well. Hashtag novice bowler, hashtag beginner's luck.
I'll make sure I pass that message on, Daryl. Maybe even mid-game.
Just shout it to him as he's coming down.
Throw off the momentum.
How long do you think Pat's been playing for? 20 years?
That's a good question. Probably at least 15. I don't think he's been playing as long as I have, though.
Oh, no?
No.
Okay. He's also one of those that has traveled quite a bit. I know he was competing at the Australian Open last year, maybe even this year, the year before. He's been down there a few times. Getting that international experience, exposure.
Yeah, he's definitely got the right delivery for that kind of surface.
Mm-hmm.
Always very calculated and smooth. I think this might be the end, Jake, that Saskatchewan needs to score.
Over there in men's fours.
Doug Prop was close.
Very close. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the fours game, not this game, because over there it's 11-9 now, Ontario over Saskatchewan. So
Boys in green are making a bit of a comeback.
Kerry O'Reilly tuning in. Can you update the score of the other games, please? Absolutely. So I just did the men's fours over there, 11-8 Ontario over Saskatchewan. But women's pairs next door, the Battle of Alberta. They've played 10 ends, and I see a 7. Oh. I think a 12 is the other one.
Priscilla is currently blocking the scoreboard in the women's fours, so we'll try and get that answer for you right away. Oh, there it is. Looks like 5-3 for Ontario.
For BC, I think, actually. 5-3 for BC over Ontario, yeah. In that women's fours match.
Okay. I thought the red marker indicated Ontario.
I'm looking at the flag picture underneath, but I mean, you could be right.
Oh, right. Sorry, guys.
Tight game either way, 2-point game. Not even halfway done yet. Well, Doug's looking to cut down here. I don't know if he did. Still 2 for sure, maybe even 3 for Alberta. Interesting question there, Papa Raj. Put your dream fours together, each of you on your own. Team must play positions. He's going first with Ryan Bester, Bruce Matheson, himself, Roger Smith, and Freddie Wallbank.
Cool.
That's the dream fours team. That's an interesting question. Got to include yourself in that team, I believe.
I may end up offending too many people that I don't pick. It's a loaded question, Raj.
It is. It is.
But ideally, in a perfect world, I'm playing with the homies. You can throw Johnny Mike Petuli in there, Grant Wilkie. I would love to bowl with Greg Wilson, David James Smith, Tim Mason. They're my bowls bros, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Half the reason teams win is because of chemistry, so
Yep.
if you got that going for you, the talent will do the rest.
I'd be tempted to go with probably Cody, Dylan, me, and maybe Ryan Bester, but can't say that we've played with him before, so chemistry-wise, I know he's easy to play with, but
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to play with Ryan Bester.
if not him, then I'd probably sub him out for maybe Cam LaFrenz.
Cameron,
Stick boy.
shout out to Cameron. Doing a lot of big things this year. Miss him at this event, though.
Yeah.
He's usually always at Nationals, throwing heaters down the pipe.
Well, I miss seeing Dylan out on the greens. He hasn't bowled for, I don't know, like 5 years, so. Kevin Dussablon tuning in and saying hi.
Last year, went to Deuceblon's wedding
Yeah.
in Vancouver. It was a wonderful time.
Really, really cool timing that it was right before majors, too.
So shout out, Kevin. Miss you, buddy. Wish you were out here.
I'm not gonna lie, in the hotel there's someone who was walking through who looks a lot like Kevin, and for a second I was like, oh, Kevin's a cool. And I was like, wait a minute, he's not playing. Who's that?
Yeah, his dad, Leo, he's a pretty good roller, too.
Yes, sir. We got an umpire call here.
Unfortunately for Saskatchewan, it may be for third shot.
I'm loving all the activity we're getting on social media here. People tuning in. Keep it going with the shoutouts and questions.
Yes, please.
At BCB Bowls, let us know.
Bend us to your will. We are here.
In New Zealand, the wedges they call chalkies, and apparently in Manitoba they call them huggers.
What do they call?
The little wedges that they're using to prop up the ball there?
Wedgies, got it.
Huggers or chalkies?
Insert inappropriate jokes here.
Ah, there we go. Now you can see some scoreboards as Mason's going across the green. There's women's fours over there, 5-3 for BC over Ontario.
Very low scoring.
There's the men's fours game, 11-9 Ontario over Saskatchewan. Skipping by Alberta there, A and B. 12-7, which I think is up Alberta B over Alberta A, but I'm not sure on that. Big thanks to George Cubis and all the umpires for doing a steady job. Gotta say, I don't know if I've ever met Gary Lawrence before, but he's hilarious. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, Mr. Lawrence, he's the man. George, he's one of the classiest dudes out there.
Yeah, George is one of my faves.
Oh, Jurgen Fessler throwing some heat. Narrowly misses. think we're down for a dynamite finish in this men's fours game.
No kidding. 11-8 after 9. Looks like Saskatchewan might have picked up a couple there.
Alberta picked up 3. We are now at 15-2. Kind of feels like the game's getting away for the from the Sask boys here.
I think his ears must be burning. We were saying some nice things about Gary Lawrence. He just wandered over to the tent here to listen in, make sure we stop saying such nice things.
President of Bulls Saskatchewan.
Giver of great speeches.
And wise beyond his years.
That's one of the loosest bowls John started with, I think, in a few ends. It's given a little bit of a chance here for Ernest. It looks like Ernie's playing the other hand here, too. Gonna try that fun side.
With his straight bowls, he can get away with it more than everyone else.
Not a mile away. John kissing the cat on his way through. I think it's still 1 to Ernie.
When you said that, I thought you meant he was trying to kiss Ernest the cat. Got a little confused for a minute.
Probably be the most interesting story in bowls today, then. See that happening.
Yeah, it's nothing but love out here, you know?
Seasoned vet against relatively newcomer. Bromance on the green.
Yeah, Ernie, he just seems just a little off today. He's been playing brilliant all week, but I think he's really struggling to get his weight down.
Partied too hard on his birthday there, 3 days ago. In case anybody's just tuning in now, Ernie Mead has the green bowls, and John McDonald has the orange bowls. Classic Saskatchewan-Alberta battle.
Always a good one. Tough to say who's holding shot here.
I think I'm going to give the nod to John, but only one, I think.
Yeah, I would say 1. Pat is just going to keep his foot on the gas. You got to think if Alberta scores on this end, they'll be kind of looking ahead to the finish line.
Starting to put some nails in the coffin here with 8 ends left. 13-point game. It's always a nice feeling for at least for me anyway, when you can be up by more than 2 points per end that's left. So with 8 ends left, if you're up by 16 sort of deal. Seeing that they have to score 2 ends every end for the rest of the game is just sort of a nice feeling. Put you in the driver's seat.
Yep, just keep calm, keep rolling your bowls. Although I've seen a lot of leads blown too. So you never know.
Darrell Fitzgerald is finding some great gifs on our Twitter feed. Shout out to you there, Al, over there.
Daz Fitzy. Oh, a little Millhouse gif. I love it.
Can Alex give us his nice, smooth "come win with me" on stream? Hashtag Nutella Bulls vid. Hashtag Great Scott.
Yeah.
Everything's
Had
coming up, no lives.
some short shorts and a Saskatchewan flag draped around me. Nothing but pride. I'd like to give a shout out to Joseph Chan. He's the architect behind all of our promo stuff.
Stellar guy. Stellar vids. Stellar individual.
Yeah, we kind of went for a little bit of a Old Spice deodorant type vibe with that vid.
I'm a big fan of Old Spice. And I'm a big fan of that vid.
Maybe if we keep hashtagging Old Spice, we'll have a permanent sponsor for Bulls Canada.
That would be ideal. Sarah Van Stein tuning in. Thinks Pat Bird's been training with Joanna Cooper. Yeah, I would imagine so. I think the two of them probably play together quite frequently. Whether at Calgary or down in New Zealand.
Joanna Cooper. What a story that's been.
No kidding.
Just kind of
boom
I
on
wouldn't
the
say
scene.
it came out of nowhere, but just she started out, won a few things, and then exploded. Taking over the country one bowl at a time.
I was super impressed with the games I watched from Commonwealth Games for how she played. Came up clutch.
Yeah, I met her briefly last year at the Canadians, and she seems like a very level-headed player out there. Nothing seems to bother her too much.
And the Birdman.
Pat Bird with a trail.
Trail for Uno.
These boys are locked in.
Pat's got some nice yellow tinted shades on. They're looking spiffy.
I'm still waiting for his arms to go up and down and flap.
Fly away.
True Birdman fashion. How do you like the nicknames across Canada? A lot of players have some pretty money nicknames.
Yeah, they do.
We've got Birdman, Mac Daddy, Steve McCarahan.
I'm a big fan of Birdman. But, I mean, it's almost too obvious of a nickname. It's fitting. But
Grant, the Stallion Wilkie,
the Stallion, yes.
Roan Dog, Keith Roney. It's endless, my friend. Shuki.
What's yours? I've heard a few. I don't know if I could say that there's one that just sticks out.
I get Scotty quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Great shot, Scotty. Definitely not as cool as others, though.
Love to start having those on the back of jerseys instead of provinces.
Last names?
Nicknames.
Nicknames. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be great.
I think the NBA started doing that for their All-Star game. Started putting nicknames on the back instead of team names.
I think they do that in darts.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like Phil the Power Taylor. Lightning bolts everywhere.
Bit of a loose opening ball there from John again. He's almost a good 10 feet past the jack.
Saskatchewan probably needs to get a big end, 3 or 4 here.
Mm-hmm.
Just get their confidence back up, even if they can string a couple ends together.
As you said, momentum. That men's fours over there with Sask, he said they just need some momentum, and they got it. Now it's 11-10 for Ontario over Saskatchewan after 10 ends of the men's fours. 5 all in the women's fours. Ontario and BC.
Very low-scoring affair.
Very.
I'd like to welcome my sister, Fran Scott. Just arrived for the Canadian singles tournament.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be wicked. we'll be streaming that as well, so stay tuned for the next 3 days as well.
How you doing, sister?
Good. Excited for the week.
Should be a good one.
I'll see you later. Just want to say hi.
Shout out to Sister Fran. Always a well-respected person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just kidding, Fran. You suck.
Ernie. Getting the inside rub there.
It's probably the best end Ernie's rolled in a while, so.
Really weird from the camera angle. Looks a lot closer than it does from our angle. From our angle, it looks like Green's line 1, maybe even 2. From the camera angle, it looks like that's John for sure.
It could very well be John's bowl.
Big fan of Alberta's jackets and shirts. They look sharp.
I agree. Ended up getting an Alberta shirt last year, and it's one of the nicer ones in the wardrobe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 12-9 in the Battle of Alberta after 12.
I think the most shocking thing I've seen this week was that Manitoba finally got new shirts.
Yeah, their shirts are looking sharp. Big fan.
'Cause for 21 years straight, I just didn't ever want to trade for one, you know? But now I do.
Yeah. The yellow polo has finally evolved into a very spiffy looking bison coated.
So kudos to the land of Manitoba. As a Saskatchewan boy, I always got to talk a little bit of trash towards our fellow prairie provinces, you know? We used to have a big tri-provincial challenge here in Regina.
Mm-hmm.
Manitoba and Alberta would come down and we'd duke it out for 3 days.
I heard that BC is looking to sort of resurrect that and make it a tri-prov between BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. Or at least a duo-prov between BC and Alberta.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get something like that kick-started again because we don't get to play a lot of tournaments in the year. And it's a great test match. Doug Prop, great bowl for 3.
Unbelievable.
That is something he needed here.
Yes, he did. I believe he's got the hammer too, which is kind of nice, so he's just got to sort of duke it out with Pat for the rest here. Every time Pat gets close, just keep pounding him out.
Yeah, Doug's probably secretly hoping that Pat's a little loose here.
Mm-hmm.
He can get a 3 or a 4.
Game changer.
There's still a lot of game left, so
Mm-hmm.
no reason to panic just yet. But they must score this end.
Yes, this is a must.
Well, Pat's throwing some heat. Came off the mat pretty funny. I don't think he likes it. Looks like he had a bit of a slip there.
Mm-hmm.
Conditions can be pretty rough and tricky out here.
Mm-hmm. Huge opportunity here for Doug, though, if he can draw another one close and pick up a 4. And he's still got one more to come after this, too, so he could even get a 5 on this if Pat's not perfect with his last.
I'm not sure if Doug threw it.
No, Doug's coming up well short. That's a pretty big missed opportunity there.
It's definitely not a bowl you want to be playing at this stage.
Pat's going to come down and take a look. Andy Caldwell tuning in again saying we were talking about WOBA having their 125th in 2020, but Burlington just had the 130th OBA singles this past July. If anyone knows of an older tournament in Canada, perhaps if you're listening, let us know. 130 years is pretty amazing. OBA. That's an interesting open singles tournament that they have down at Burlington. They play it on a Friday, and you start at 8:30 a.m. Play till pretty much midnight if you're going through all the way, but pretty good money too. I think it's $500 first place at the OBA singles, so head on down to Burlington next year, whatever Friday that is in July.
Yeah, I think that's something provinces need to start looking into is having some good cash tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
You'll draw a lot more people out to those things if you come home with $1,000 in your pocket.
Oh, yeah. You think Pat's throwing weight here?
Yeah, it looks like he is again.
Interesting choice.
Came out a lot cleaner this time.
Interesting choice. Ooh, the push and follow.
Ended up wrecking, so Saskatchewan's holding 3. This is a big 4th draw here. Doug needs to capitalize on these points now.
Not sure if I'm a big fan of Pat driving there. There's way too many holes. I think I would have rather seen him try to draw in and cut it down to 1 or 2. Because at this point, if you can hold Sask to 1, that's not going to be good enough. But if you miss the drive and Doug draws for 4, that's a game changer.
I do wonder if Pat would have played that shot if it was a 2-point game
Mm-hmm.
rather than a 14-point game.
That's fair. That's fair, too.
You tend to kind of get a little bit more aggressive when you have a lead.
Mm-hmm.
But I would agree with you there. I think the draw was probably the better call, especially because Pat's been playing fairly well.
Lots of holes. None of the bulls are really grouped together to make a big target.
Mr. Prop looking to capitalize and get back in this game.
Daryl asking a doozy. What's Alex's opinion on the new format for the championship?
I'm wondering if Daryl can clarify what he means by that first. Need a bit more there, Daz, but I'll be happy to answer that question for you.
Sunday afternoon back home in Ontario. Nothing better than watching bulls on this rainy day.
It's cool, it's cloudy, it's drizzly, but it's still bulls, man.
We picked up a 3 ball there. 16-5, and Ernie's got the mat up.
That's a big 3, but Doug's probably kicking himself knowing that he could have got 4 or 5 with those last 2 bulls of his.
Yep. Pretty big range for him to be in, too. It's not like he had to be precise, just had to be within a meter or so.
Well, Ernie's moved the mat up quite close to the hog line there, so
I am a huge fan of this.
this is the time to pounce if you want to get back in this game.
Threw a really good jack there, too. That's got to be pretty close to the tee. Ernest. Not the bad.
That's a great start. That's exactly what they need.
John's coming up a bit short here, so this might be a bit of a game changer bringing the mat up. 6 to go, 11-point game. Well within reach. 3 bull pairs, you can easily score multiples because the heads are a lot more full of holes.
Ernie's looking to slip underneath, and
Yeah,
he has.
He has.
Putting the pressure on.
Playing that other hand is starting to come alive here now.
This game is not over yet, folks. Saskatchewan still needs to string about 3 or 4 ends together, but if Ernie can keep doing that and get his head back in it, he's dangerous.
John would have had a good one if he hadn't crashed there, but he did, so that's leaving the door wide open here for Ernie.
He'll be looking to just play underneath that front orange. It'll draw nicely to the cat with his kind of line.
Tricky now, though, because you don't want to... I almost don't want him to fill that hole, because right now Pat's probably not going to drive at that because there's a pretty big gap. But if he fills that hole, then lick your lips. Let's throw some weight. Please stick around.
It's a little hot. Overcompensated.
Just trickled in.
That's an unfortunate result.
All right, so Daz has clarified a little bit. Pairs and fours first, singles immediately after, 3-bowl pairs, and you can qualify and play in singles and another event.
I like the idea that you can play both events. I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of these bowlers to try their hand at pairs, fours, and singles in 1 week. I have my opinions of condensing this kind of tournament into 3 days. It's a lot of bowls, a lot of action, but it seems to be working out fairly okay. And as for the singles, Daryl, you know what? I can give you more of an informative answer once I play in it. I'm quite excited to do that. I'm glad that it's back with the majors.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a major boost to have this sort of format. I still wish it was open, but that's just because I like competition and I want all the top people in the country to come play this tournament. So in the grand scheme of things, yes. I think we should give it a chance for at least 2 or 3 years, and then
Reassess?
if the board wants to reassess and we get too many negative comments, then we'll make the necessary adaptations.
I'd like to do sort of what they do at the New Zealand Open for their championships. They have you in groups, and you have to win either 3 of 4 or 4 of 6, so it's over 50% to advance to knockout round playoffs.
Okay.
That way it's not just top 2 from your pool or what have you. You just have to win more than 50%, which I'm a big fan of that.
I think I'm okay with that. I was a big fan of the 2013 singles, where we did have the knockout rounds with this 16 left, single knockout till the finals. It really upped the ante in the competition, and the best bowlers generally emerged out of the group stages.
2013 was the very first year they did Open, yeah?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
We had about 34, 35 men playing in that event.
Not a bad turnout.
It was great. Besides David Anderson. And he just went and ruined my life.
Typical Dave.
Yep.
Kind of a strange end to watch here. Pat's first bowl, he dropped short, and then Doug just crashed into it and pumped it in, and then Pat just pumped into Doug. So they're just pounding each other in here. Haven't really done anything.
Yeah, not a lot of clear pathways here. But it looks like Saskatchewan's probably holding 2. Doug's trying to draw around.
Really doesn't want to finish on that hand.
Pat has an interesting choice here.
Yeah, what are you doing in this situation?
Well,
It's your last bowl.
The way that hand that Doug just played is playing, I don't know if Pat can get to the jack. But if I was him, I'd probably...
From this angle, it looks like there's kind of a nice little draw path through there. You just have to be underneath.
I'd probably play underneath. I mean, even if you play it tight, you can use the front orange or get a bit of action off of Ernie's front bowls there.
Even inside rub off of his bowl up front there.
But Pat's got to be careful. He doesn't want to throw too much weight, because if he comes through that port, he has a chance to get on the green and knock that orange one out. And they'd be down about 3 shots.
There's also a bit of a hole there. He could end up just sailing through, depending how much weight he's playing too. So got to be very careful with this. That's a pretty big shot. This is almost a game-changing shot here too, because if Sask can pick up another 2 or 3 here, that's pretty big momentum change.
That's right. They're definitely doing a lot of analyzing on this.
And 13.
Well, John's kind of signaling to play across on his other hand through that port.
I'm curious if they use Derek Dillon. You can see him with the umbrella there, their coach.
This is very precarious, and this is the final bowl of the end, it appears.
Yep.
So, massive shot.
I feel as though a huge hush just fell over the crowd. Got deadly silent.
Pat's trying to come down.
He's on the outside, grabbing the inside rub. Oh, oh.
Ooh, that was very close. I think his weight was quite there. Not quite there.
Taking out one for sure. Getting down to measure.
If you're Alberta, you're quite okay with one. No, it was 2.
Was it?
2 points, Saskatchewan. So we're at 16-7 now.
Still very much alive. 9 points, 5 ends.
Very attainable.
Oh, yeah. And you can see Ernie just walking away. Oh, there he is. Right up.
For what has been a fairly uneventful match, things could get quite interesting down the stretch here.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Ernie's found his confidence those last 2 ends.
Mm-hmm. Confidence is everything.
Doug, all he needs to make is 1 or 2 conversion shots, and we definitely have a good finish here.
Women's 4 is 7-6 Ontario over BC after 10. Men's 4 is 14-12 Ontario over Saskatchewan after 12. Women's pairs 13-10 Alberta over Alberta after 14.
Wow, very close games.
Close games going around. And this one's trying to get back to becoming a close game too.
This is a big end for John. He's been a little loose these last 2 ends, and if he... Well, Ernie's putting on the pressure.
He's within a mat length on that one for sure. There it is.
John's looking to stem the tide. He released it quite well.
In the ballpark.
Unlucky,
Just got
but
it
good
square.
ball.
Very useful. If Sask is going to score a lot of points here, they're going to have to be within inside that.
At this point, Ernie just needs to kind of get him close. It looks like he has another great ball here.
Interesting how he changed hands on that and still just locked it in. Difficult to see on the screen as Doug's right in front of the camera, but there you go.
That's Paul Foster all over again. 2014 Com Games, Alex Marshall delivers the biggest shots in life. Couldn't even see it. Paul was blocking it.
Yep. That's a tricky thing with bowls. Whenever you try to broadcast it, there's always people right in front of the head. 4s is the worst.
Luckily, folks, we have a clear path to the hedge here, so... Oh, Doug moved.
You can see 2 of Ernie's gems.
I think John will be looking to play through here.
Yeah, and
He's
he's
pretty close.
very close. I changed up the angle a little bit. I think Pat's pretty happy with that. Changed things up a bit.
I think Ernie's looking to do the same thing, just draw right in behind the cat there.
This game's really been the story of the leads for the first half. John was dominating Ernie, and now that Ernie's found his groove the past 2-3 ends, all Saskatchewan the past few.
See if he threw it.
Coming up short.
A little lighter here.
I think that's a nuisance bowl, though. It's almost right in John's line, I think. The way he was standing on the mat there, just sort of pondering. John's very hesitant to play the other hand here, too.
Looks like Pat's telling John to go at it. So we might see a bit of action here.
Got a drive coming from a lead. I love it. What a strike.
What a great ball.
Right to his other one, too. Bingo.
Perfect ball by John. That's exactly the result he needed. He made it very difficult for Doug now.
Mm-hmm.
No position in the back.
I think he threw that harder than Pat's drives are, too.
That was a confident stroke. The moment is definitely not too big for Mr. McDonald.
Doug's probably going to have to play a little bit of weight here. You're not going to be able to draw that off, so you're going to have to push it through. Don't have to be crazy aggressive, but
Well, it's not a toucher, so he can go for it.
yeah, that's true.
He's not, though. He's looking to
Just rest it through, I think.
just rest it. He's pretty close. Just missed it.
Just on the outside edge. Ended up in not a bad spot, though, because now he can play a little more aggressive, and he's got one back there waiting. Going to quickly take the scoreboard off there so you can see a bit more. See Doug's bowl there off to the far right.
I think Pat's likely going to be looking to play a couple feet behind.
Mm-hmm.
Would be an ideal spot.
Probably pretty close to where Ernie's standing, I think is where he might end up. A little bit to the left of that.
Definitely don't want to be short.
Pretty close to a minimum length jack here, the way the mat's up so far. No, Pat's very comfortable with having the mat up to the hog line. When I played him in singles a few years ago, we played mat at the hog line the entire game. So
That's a great bowl.
beautiful bowl.
Just behind. That's what he wanted.
That's a very last second finish.
Doug's got to pull out some magic here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good effort. Just very tough to get to.
I think I'm throwing weight at that with Doug, with my last bowl. You've got two backers. If you can kill the jack.
I would agree. I think he should have thrown at it too. 'Cause even if he hits it to the ditch, I mean, it's likely laying the shot, whether it gets respotted or not.
Based on John's arm movement there, I think he's saying exactly, yeah, he's probably going to drive it. Show me the tee, says Pat. That's John's foot on the tee. This could be tricky, though. If Pat actually puts it on the tee, Doug's in for a world of trouble.
Nope.
Coming up well short. Wow.
Doug's talking about hammering it now, but I feel like he should have done that one bowl ago.
It's your last bowl now.
Because, you know, if he connects on that previous shot, Pat comes up short, you're suddenly drawing for three.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Doug is now faced with a tall task of bailing himself out with not a lot of favorable positions here.
Ernie was talking about if you get that orange, Jack's popping to the left of the pack. Your shooter's probably going to follow through. Having a good hard look at this because this is another game changer of an end.
At this point, Alberta's not looking for points. They're just looking to steal maybe two more ends.
Mm-hmm.
Saskatchewan's slowly running out of time.
I really can't see anything other than throwing weight at this. I can't see a draw. I can't really see even pushing it through with softer weight. I think you have to go big.
It's a tough call, but I think you got to just splash it and hope for the best at this point.
If you play soft weight and you push the orange through, the jack's only going to move a little bit right back to Pat, so you got to play big enough to get it past.
Even if you can get a movement on the purple and move Doug's bowl with the jack.
Yeah, yeah.
There's many different things that can happen here.
Gotta get the orange, although I guess you can probably see the jack from the mat. You could potentially chip it to the side. Kill it and put it back at the tee.
He's definitely not coming with too much weight.
No, that was very controlled. I think he's wide too. Yeah, missed it all.
Interesting shot selections on those last two. I would have played a lot more aggressive at that sort of situation.
Interesting. John just asked Pat, "Are you throwing?" And Pat said, "Heck yes." I'm not sure if I would. I know there's not a whole lot of danger, but I'd be happy to just take the two. Don't want to get greedy here.
It looks like he chickened out anyway.
Yep, coming up short.
There's no reason to come to the head there. 2 is very important at this stage.
And I think that's going to be very difficult now for Sass to get back in this. 11 points and 4 ends. Despite the rain, I'm very impressed with how the spectators have stuck it out. All the umbrellas, all the blankets.
As they should. This is an event that deserves to be watched by many people.
Pat trying to clap it in. Coming up a couple yards short. We'll see what Ernie can do here. I think he's right back on the jack. Very close. Grabbed it. Almost back into the ditch, not quite. I think Pat's calling for it, just saying, yeah, put it in. Finish it off. Completely wrong on that. Asking for a draw, I suppose, and coming up short again. Ernie needed another little bit to get in the count. Not good enough. Coming up short. Pat's asking for 5 more on John's bowl. Very quiet over here. Spectators are getting into this now. See if John stops in time. I don't think he will. Prove me wrong. That's almost exactly where Pat's bowl was, and it kept going. So somehow John stopped. I'm not sure how that worked. Hand got the flop too. But that could be shot. Ernie's chucked her in the ditch. And that'll be it for the leads. Looks like 1 orange. 4 ends to go, 11 points. Battle of Alberta women's pairs 15-10 after 15. Men's fours, Ontario's up 17-12 after 13 against Saskatchewan. Women's fours all tied up at 7 after 11 between Alberta and, Ontario and BC. think Ernie's calling for a draw on this. I think I'd probably want to play underneath and try to push that orange bull out, roll it through. Got to score multiples here. Tugs away. Is he by it? Just around. Will it stop in time? Just a kiss. That'll be enough to keep it alive in the ditch. Useful. Useful. Pat's having a little bit of fun with Johnson. How's my weight on that last one? He was about 20 feet short. Pat Bird. What a draw.
The Birdman is smelling blood.
Difficult now for Doug because you got to score multiples. That means you got to pick both Pat's and John's. That's tough. That's tough.
I kind of wonder if Alberta walks away with 2 here. Got to wonder if they're going to handshake.
Mm-hmm. Doug does have a toucher in the ditch, so if he grabs the white on his way through, he could still count 2.
The women's 4s are tied up 7-7, playing 12. Ontario 4s are up 19-12, building a little bit of a lead there.
Playing 15.
And the Battle of Alberta, 15-12, with 2 left. Still unsure which Alberta is which, so sorry about that, guys.
15-12. I think it's Alberta B, because Alberta A just counted and it's Amanda that's shown the jack.
Perfect.
So Alberta B is up 15-12 after 16. Interesting, a couple seconds here ago, Pat was thinking about throwing a guard, and John talked him out of it to try to draw another one in, or to bury the jack himself, and Pat just missed and ended up in the ditch. Not sure if a guard would have been that perfect, unless you have the very perfect one, but...
I like John calling him off there. I think taking the shot away from Doug as soon as you can is the right move.
Really the only option right now for Doug is to put the jack in the ditch to try to count 2. Because you can't just draw it off and get 1. I don't think 1's good enough at this stage in the game. You have to score multiple.
It appears that they're running out of ends. It's going to be very tough to get 2 out of this one.
Have to get the jack square so that it'll land next to their toucher in the ditch. I think he's got some weight to this, so he's going for it. Definitely going for it.
He needs to hold. Oh.
Wow.
Just missed. That could be the ball game, Mr. Schuknecht.
For sure, 1 Alberta. Did they take 2 out of it? We'll see with Ernie updating the scoreboard here whether that was 1 or 2. Just the 1. 12-point game, 3 to go. Got to score 4s rest of the way.
3s and 4s now. John's played a full-length jack here.
Likely because Ernie had the mat up and they were doing really well on the short ones, so saying, let's do the exact opposite of what you wanted. Both leads are just past the jack. Ernie slightly closer.
At this point, Saskatchewan's strategy is to just draw it close. Can't play for any more position at this point.
Nope. When you got to score 4 and you only have 6 bowls, that's difficult.
John was pretty fortunate resting that.
Looked a little pacey.
Claire Day is staring at the booth currently.
Shaking her head.
Looks like she's having some fun. You gotta love that that classic hat that she wears with the flowers in it. That's Claire Day in a nutshell. Just a delightful flower. Great bowl by John here.
Beautiful shot. That makes things tricky for Ernie.
I think what Ernie should do is play his forehand just to kind of drag the jack back a little bit.
Push the orange over, grab the jack. Definitely need to be there.
On top of his own could work too. At least give Doug some extra options to work with. He's not far off.
I think he's a little wide,
though.
yeah. Just on the outside.
I like the weight though.
Yeah, really great weight for that. But now it's tricky with Doug only having 3 bowls. You're going to have to connect on all 3. And hope to heck that Pat misses.
Derek Dillon almost biffed it in front of us. That would have been hilarious for the entire country.
Alberta coach biting the dust.
One of the coolest cats out here.
Pat's throwing a little bit of weight into this. Men's 4s are shaking hands. I think Ontario's walked away with the gold.
That means they must have scored a fairly significant end there.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to the Ontario men's 4s. Champions over Saskatchewan. It was a good run, boys.
Jürgen Fessler, Gary Pickering, Mike Spadafora, Mike Wagner. Quick game. Not very often will you have a 4s game finish before a pairs game.
That's going to be a tough one to swallow for the Patuli boys after finishing second last year to Ontario as well.
Mm-hmm.
This one's going to hurt.
Different crew from Ontario, though. Last year they finished second to the Steffen brothers in the pairs. This year to a very interesting foursome out of Ontario. I don't know if those 4 have ever played together before this year, to be honest.
I don't think so. But they played brilliant bowls all week.
I think Jürgen assembled that team based on positional need. Realized that Spadafora is a heck of a lead. And Wagner's a heck of a player.
Good for them. That's a pretty big statement win.
Daryl, unreal on Twitter. Definitely two of our better pictures. If you're not on Twitter, head on over to our Twitter account at BCB Bulls. Daryl's throwing some throwback photos out there of me and Al. I think I was probably about 16 in that picture for me. For you, you look pretty similar though. That could have been maybe 10 years ago and still look pretty much the same.
That was only 2 years ago.
Was it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
In fact, I'm wearing the exact same outfit as we speak now. Right at this booth.
I can safely tell you I am not wearing my Lakers jersey. I do still have that jersey hanging up in my closet at home, but not supporting Kobe today.
I think Pat's looking to play a little bit of position behind again. Decrease any chances of Doug scoring more than 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm. I guess on paper, if Doug scores 2 or 3, he's still alive, but will Pat stop before he's in the ditch?
I don't
Nope.
think so.
Rolled off in.
Not on this green.
Jack in the ditch is what Doug just shouted down to Ernie.
Looks a little wide.
Mm-hmm.
He's off the mark.
So I think that's 1 Saskatchewan.
1 Saskatchewan. We'll see if they'll play it through for a formality.
Nope. They are going to
They're
shake hands.
shaking hands.
So that's that game. I think we might shift over now to the women's pairs between the Battle of Alberta, 5-point match going home.
Congratulations to Alberta men's pairs. Pat Bird, John McDonald, national champions. And valiant run for Padres from Saskatchewan, Doug Propp and Ernie Mead. Just wasn't Saskatchewan's day today.
A little bit of a grudge match, too. It's not every day that you get to play the same team twice in the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So after that tie break this morning where Saskatchewan just absolutely ran away with it, Pat and John were sure to not let that happen again.
Yeah, you can almost kind of feel it. Very tough to beat Pat Bird 3 times in a tournament.
I don't know if anybody could ever claim that they've done that
Mm-hmm.
3 times in the same tournament. Women's 4 is down on the far end is 9-7. I think BC is up over Ontario, as every single player is now in front of the scoreboard.
Women's pairs about to wrap up in a few more bowls here.
17-12, Alberta B over Alberta A, playing the last end. I believe the pink stickers are A and the white stickers are B. So that would be Pat Voss, that's lying 1 right now over Amanda Berg.
I still am unsure who has 17 and who has 12. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, it's Alberta B, so that's Pat Voss and
Okay.
Cecilia Gillespie at 17.
It's going to be pretty tough to get 5, but Amanda and Claire don't stop fighting.
Cecilia's on the mat delivering her bowl there.
And a trail.
What a bowl.
Cecilia Gillespie, she can still roll them.
Mm-hmm.
She's been at this stage many times, and no surprise here that she's about to take another gold medal home. That's a great bowl by Claire.
Claire Day, well played. chipping it over to Amanda, so Alberta A now lying 1.
Just awaiting the last bowl from Cecilia here.
At BCB Bulls, do you mean over Saskatchewan? Derek, I'm not sure what you meant. Ontario men's fours beat Saskatchewan 1912. Alberta and the men's pairs beat Saskatchewan 1908. The rink we're watching right now is women's pairs. It's Alberta A and Alberta B. And over on women's fours, it's 9-7 BC over Ontario. Apologies if I misspoke.
Cecilia is just looking to minimize the damage at this point.
King Fessler, what a run. Congrats, Gary, Mike, and Spadaboom. Not sure who runs the WOBA Twitter feed, but WOBA's on Twitter.
Shout out.
Not sure if that's there.
Do you see a miracle for 5 anywhere here?
I can see 3 bulls with pink stickers from where we are in the corner.
We're kind of looking over the angles right now, seeing if it's realistic.
I don't know if you can chip the jack exactly sideways like that and follow through with it to be able to get 5 on this. I could see maybe a miracle 4. Not sure about 5.
Do you believe in miracles, Jake?
Oh, I believe in miracles all the time. Could you get a quad pick? How much weight can Claire Day throw?
Yeah, that's the thing. This may require a Ryan Bester type heave. She's going to put a lot of muscle into this one. Here it comes. Hope and a prayer, folks. And that does it.
That does it.
Cecilia Gillespie and Pat Voss, Canadian women's champions. Congratulations, Alberta. Amazing run, Amanda Berg, Claire Day.
Silver medal. All Alberta in the final. Not very often do you have an 18-player B team in the final.
No, it's Alberta came to play this week. Amazing results.
Absolutely outstanding. Not sure if our cameras are going to be able to reach over to the far side, so I think that might be it for us.
Jake, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. We will probably live stream the medal ceremonies without any commentary, so whenever those are, we'll put that back on live. Till then,